friend, Gail Wright. And again, there's a lot of quotes that I happen to find in the Bleeding Archives, which it has. So it's entitled, "It looks like chocolate, so I'm gonna eat it." So Ellen and Gail shared an office for 4 years. They had a friendship for over 40 years. And according to Ellen, every minute was a delight. They had so much in common, including their mania for chocolate, love of horses, powerful imaginations, multiple fantasy personas, love for their work at Disney, love of humor in all forms, and many shared philosophies.
It's very overpriced.
This is, the room they shared was called the refrigerator because it was so cold. This was the outfits that they would wear, Ellen would wear down vest, and Gail had this serape that she bought at a thrift shop. And that was her snappy serape. The jacket with the snappy serapes, and those were the 3D glasses that she had put together on the hats that she would make us wear on occasion. They had a lot of quotes, so every so often they would come up with a quote, somebody said something funny, they would go, quote, and they would get a piece of paper, write it down, and get it to the quote board. So in the Bleeding Archives, which I have at home, there are dozens, there are stacks of these wonderful quotes, so we pulled a few of them for the presentation. So this is one of the other roommates that they had, Carol Holiday. She was an honorary chappie for a moment. That was me when I had a beard. I got rid of the beard, but I kept the teeth. There they are in their office, the three of us, with the Snappy Chappy banner that was behind them. So they spent hours and hours at the Xerox machine, downsizing all these pictures of horses and put the Chappies, our pictures on all of the horses, which I still have the banner for whatever reason. But they called this activity crafts as opposed to art because art was being done every day, so they would spend more time doing crafts than they would be art. So these are the quotes, some of the quotes. Gail apparently uttered this historic quote while rummaging through one of her drawers. She ate the small brown thing that she found. Many seconds went by without her saying anything. So meanwhile, Ellen is sitting there drawing and wondering if whatever she found was truly chocolate, or could it have been a piece of her eraser, or a piece of wood. But it turns out it was chocolate. Humor as well, that was Gail's superpower. So her humor made everyone like her. It drew friends to her like a magnet. She created an atmosphere of fun, silliness in her offices, and it was so much fun to go to work with them and to visit them in their offices, sit there and just laugh at what they were doing. I love this. I'm glad we don't have to sit next door to us and listen to all of their noise. And periodically, the ventilation system had gnats that would fall down on their desks. So Gail wrote, "I can't hear you, I have gnats in my ears." Food conversations and the ensuing quotes were always plentiful. I almost lost a grade down my shapes. She referred to herself as shapes. Kiss my food before I eat it. I think that's what happened to me. Somehow magnetically, I got a whole family compressed to my hips. I'm just going to be happy and buy elasticized waist. Half of my life is spent erasing, the other half of my life is spent eating. Lint. Isn't lint something? She put a sample of lint on there. And she says, lint was probably my crowning glory. She loved rainy days. I like gloom. Contemplating her fate. I think this story was a joint endeavor. Actually, this one. She writes, "It's only proper that I should meet my fate on a game show." Yeah, this was actually written by Ellen. We were sitting at lunch, and again, it's about what we're going to have on our tombstones. And apparently, Gail wanted, maybe after her animation career, to be a plutonium truck driver. That was her goal after Disney. So when Ellen wrote this, she wrote, "When Gail reinvents herself as a plutonium truck driver and then dies, At her glowing grave, the pilgrims will throng to pay homage. She will be mistaken for being holy when she was merely radioactive. When I read that, I laughed out loud.
Oh, funny.
Even though my eyes are tiny, my face is large. I think it would have had a lot more fun if I had a different mind and a different face. There's nothing good on the radio, so I'm going to have to listen to you. No wonder I get headaches. I look at you all the time with my glasses on. I didn't realize how horrible I really am. Although she did have a mean bone in her body. I want my comforts and I want them now. Ellen mentioned, "You're a little hussy," and Gail replied, "Yes, I am, aren't I?" And she said to me, "Not too close, my nails aren't polished." So Gail became Gina, nicknamed Gina after one of Ellen's friends met her for the first time and wrote to him how nice it was to have met his lovely wife, Gina. So she quickly became Miss Gina May Green. And sometime after that, she became the Baronetta von Frank, and Ellen became the Baron. This is Miss Dinette on the left, that's Ellen, who's a friendly waitress from Sacramento. And Gina May and Dinette exchanged boxes of C's dark chocolate raspberry creams, or as she said, them round things, the round brown things for birthdays and Christmas. It was a 40-year tradition. There's a lot of text here. It was that one year that Ellen forgot to send her the box and wrote an apology letter. And she said that she would voluntarily blast herself into hell as penance for her blunder. And Gail wrote back, "I was preparing to write you a snarky letter after the blast me to hell letter, but as luck would have it, the wonderful C's arrived. This presented a bit of a quandary, to punish or not punish. That is the question. You probably thought my silence was me sulking. I must admit to a few thoughts on the dark side, but in the end, my superior moral character won out, and I forgive your most grievous action of forgiving my royal birthday. Henceforth, I wish to be known as the benevolent Baronetta."
Oh.
And then one more story she wrote to Ellen, "My dear Miss D, a totally unexpected thing happened. A lovely brown box was delivered by a fine young man in brown shorts, driving an odd-looking brown truck with no side doors. I opened the box and discovered that my dear friend, Miss Nanette, had sent me a most beautifully wrapped box. I do not know what secrets it might hold. I can barely contain my excitement until the day I'm allowed to open it. I'm afraid my words are becoming quite slurred from the drool that's escaping my quivering lips. Oh, angels above, please hasten the day. My dear, 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 dear Miss D, I am overwhelmed with joy and gratefulness, and thank you for your generosity. Devotedly, Miss Gina May." So this is Ellen and her husband, Brian, and Ellen and Gail at the premiere for Hercules. And Ellen was the supervising animator on Pegasus, so Gail brought them feather boas to celebrate the wings of the character. Gail was the lead key on Fates, working with Nancy Beeman, and she made those costumes for the annual yearbook. Not all frivolity every working day at Disney. One day I walked into their office, and I said, "Hey, how are you doing?" And he just said, "Today we're grumps." And so I went back to my office and I did this caricature of them, and that broke the glue. It just totally made them crack. So I would go into their office.
We have from Ellen, we have
The brown things.
brown things. And Ellen wanted me to pass these out to everyone.
Perfect.
And so go ahead and tell them about the brown things.
So we do have a box from Ellen Woodbury, Colorado, of those brown things. Of the raspberry creams.
Gail and her.
Yes, this was their 40-year tradition, so Ellen's going to pass those around in honor of Gail. So anyway, well, then we go into their offices, like, how are you doing today? And like, today we're happy, or today we're hateful, or today we're envious. And of course, I had to do this really kind of crazy, weird drawing of them.
Wow.
Again, Lena birthdays. And Gail has these light up glasses that, so she can see better. She can draw. One time they gave me bedroom slippers with lights on the toes so that I could see where I went in the dark.
Oh my God.
More Shane and lunch, more birthday lunches with mustard. And Helen writes, I'm not certain about the purpose of this reveal that should remain a mystery, but I don't remember why. I think it was because Gail didn't, or Ellen didn't want her picture taken. What she remembered would prompted the return of Sister Mary Helen. Must have been a special request. But to her dismay, it's obvious that we're gossiping about her. So again, you know, some of the special expressions I would need in poses for the leader invitations. And this was her favorite leader invitation. The picture that I used in Gail, and we had candy cigarettes, bubblegum cigarettes in those plastic, in our wax lips. So my dear friend is Gina Maybelline, the Baronet of Von Frank, and my fellow chappie in hilarity. By any name, you are the most funniest, most joyful friend I ever had.
Aww.
So Gail in Ascendance, so fun and funny, and always with style. I look to you, I love you to heaven and back. So thank you for the follow.